move to the next slide. It's a kind of a busy slide, but it has a lot of data points, and it's not the data points that I really wanted to speak about today. So to quickly introduce myself, I lead the R&D for the Communications Technology Group for HP worldwide, and I'm also the R&D site leader for HP's Communications Technology in India. Of course, you see a lot of data points in the slide saying that, we have here 2,000 plus engineers doing fairly cutting-edge R&D in this country. It spans from high-performance computing, all the way down to 5G core network software and stuff like that. And of course, we deal with a number of topics related to how we interface with academia, how we interface with the industry participants, the standards bodies, in order to ensure that we have an R&D which is sort of not a code-to-spec kind of an organization, but an R&D which is truly building things in India, design upwards in more ways than one. But what I wanted to talk about today really is what goes on behind that, because of course we have had 300 plus patents granted over the last 3 years while the world has been struggling with the pandemic. But there are really two things that I wanted to talk about. One is this whole notion of network R&D. I know that in general, R&D in India, especially multinational R&D outfits, have had to deal with this accusation, if you will, that it has been very, very siloed. I mean, it works, on its projects, it works on its priorities. It's kind of primarily focused on the talent in India, and it gets the benefit of the labor arbitrage, etc. And then products get built, they go back, and they're sold. It's basically, from India to the rest of the world in many ways. And then there has been, of course, over a period of time, MNC R&D outfits have been able to challenge that and come out of that acquisition by delivering a lot of build in India products in India. And there have been multiple even government projects that many companies, including my company, that has participated in things like INDIA and with our HPC offering. I think we've worked with the Met Department. We've done significant progress in terms of predicting cyclone landfalls, etc. But the network R&D that we as R&D leaders on a day-to-day that we deal with is something which is a little more than that. Today, a significant portion of some of our time is spent in actually interfacing with not just the academia and the standards organization, but also this burgeoning startup ecosystem. Of course, I sit in Bangalore, and there are a lot of, the startup scenario here is extremely vibrant, but it's not just Bangalore. What we are seeing is that, in the last 3 years, for example, we started something called the Digital Catalyst Program, which is, which is about onboarding startups into our ecosystem and enabling them both with sharpening their technologies as well as offering them with go-to-market options to get to build their products to scale. And you'll be surprised with the kind of progress that has been happening. We're already in cohort 3. We're already seeing products which were looking as nascent. In fact, I personally have evaluated many of those products, and at one time I was even not so sure that we should have them as part of our cohort. But then once we onboarded them, we made infrastructure available. We made, or rather, we gave them opportunity to talk to people who are already experts in those areas.
If you could, give your 3 recommendations, which is very important for us.
Yeah, sure. So if I could maybe go on to that, then my recommendation number 1 would be to increasingly build a solid network R&D model. Okay, it is imperative for us to survive, and it is imperative for the Indian R&D ecosystem to grow in a holistic manner. And this is more important today than ever. The second piece is, we have always spoken about what is called the demographic dividend, but our experience in working with multiple different stakeholders is that the diversity dividend in India is enormous. Diversity in the problem space and the diversity in the solution opportunity space. It comes in various forms and fashions, but of course we need to be able to invest in areas ranging from academia all the way into social startups, etc., to be able to get that diverse problem space and the solution space to come together and deliver the goods for this country and beyond. The third piece is around building a platform-centric R&D. We cannot scale R&D by building bits and pieces of solutions which we hope will magically come together. The good news is that in India, thanks to the India stack that one of the speakers spoke about in the financial services sector, there is significant progress happening in that form as well to put together a platform-centric approach. Needless to say, I think we need to keep the focus on it and ensure that even industry participants like ourselves can bring in our expertise and build out a platform-centric approach to the various problem spaces that we really are in. The slide there talks about how we in R&D organize ourselves across technology, people, and economics to deal with the primary problem statements that we have today. But it is beyond that, and this is really my two recommendations. Focusing on network R&D, ensuring that we are able to leverage the diversity dividend, and finally taking a very, very platform-centric approach to problem solving as we scale.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Mr. Chattopadhyay from Master Victor. Chattopadhyay.
Can you please unmute Mr. Chattopadhyay?
Yeah, I was not able to unmute, sorry. I just got the connection.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, please.
Okay. So, Dr. Pratik, esteemed panelists, thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak in this forum. I am from ArcelorMittal Nippon Steel, a steel manufacturing company, which is a JV between ArcelorMittal and Nippon Steel. So basically we have been talking about the IT space, pharma space from this morning session. I am going to talk about the brake and motor industry, that is basically the steel industry. Steel industry, as you know, India is the second largest producer of steel in India. In the world, and our target is to produce 300 million tons of steel by 2030, which is roughly around 2.5 times of what is the present capacity. So there is an enormous targeted growth for this industry. But when we talk of the equipment, what is the ecosystem of steel industry, if we have to build up a new steel plant, almost all the core equipment are imported. So we are dependent on external suppliers for all this key steel equipment, whether it is blast furnace or it's electric furnace. The core machinery comes from abroad. Then when you are running a steel plant, then a lot of things come from abroad. Like we have work rolls, backup rolls, these are the rolling mills used for in the rolling mill, and there are a lot of refractories which are also getting imported even today. Then coming to the product side, whatever steel that we are generating, we are producing mostly the volume and the mass production rate. Our generation of steel in CRGO or amorphous steel, which is using electrical appliances, almost next to nothing.
that we are not producing very advanced high-strength technical steel. We are dependent on external supplies. We are dependent on external supplies for defense steel. And we are also dependent on a lot of high-strength steel in the structural areas also. So all these things is the ecosystem. So we may be saying that we are actually very large producer of steel, but we are dependent on this type of steel. So if you are talking of Atmanirbhar Bharat, we need to have companies in India which develops and produces this steel. If we talk of R&D, I will classify the R&D requirements in steel industry in three different categories. One is catching up R&D, whereas things are there in abroad, we have to catch up. We have to have industry who will be interested in doing R&D so that we produce our own blast furnaces, we produce our own electric arc furnaces. So that is catching up R&D. Then there is something called India-specific R&D. So these are you have Indian iron ore, which has a slightly different type.
Jai is not able to hear you.
These are all the India-specific R&D.
Yeah, Mr. Father, I just, if we could just summarize one thing. You see, we have the largest R&D center, Steel Authority of India at Varanasi. Jindal Steel also has many R&D. But the largest R&D center of ArcelorMittal is abroad. What I'm trying to say is why ArcelorMittal is not investing in the R&D, maybe with SAIL or maybe with other Reliance Steel plant or something. So that is what we're thinking of. Why don't you bring in your expertise?
So I will come to that. See, the thing is, when the R&D happens, I'm not talking of large-scale R&D. Large-scale R&D, we have enough capacity and other things, but things to get commercialized. ArcelorMittal normally collaborates with equipment suppliers. As I was telling, we are importing all the equipment. We don't have enough equipment manufacturing companies in India. And since they are not present, or if they are present, they are present in a very small scale, they don't have their R&D center here. So for example, ArcelorMittal is collaborating with Midrex to build up a green steel, green hydrogen-based Midrex sponge iron plant in Germany. So Midrex R&D is collaborating with ArcelorMittal. So if Midrex R&D is not here, ArcelorMittal cannot work in isolation. So one thing is that we need to have an ecosystem where the equipment manufacturers are present fully with their R&D setup in India. That is one of the requirements. Second thing that has been told in this meeting is that normally there is a very strong correlation between FDI and R&D. So if the FDI in steel sector goes up, R&D will go up. And I have seen one of the things is that if it is a JV, normally there is a reluctance of the parent companies to bring in core R&D unless they have a controlling stake. This has happened in a lot of companies in steel industry as well as others. Like for example, I said Maruti, when it started as a JV, there was not much of R&D, but when Suzuki got the controlling stake, they have built up a strong R&D center. So this is another requirement that is there. The third thing is that steel industry is a very capital intensive industry. So appetite for change is appetite for risk is much lesser here. So that is another thing that is hindering. So what needs to be done to improve this thing? Number one, I would say that we should focus not only FDI in R&D, but FDI of the heavy equipment manufacturing which supports the steel industry. If that comes in, the ecosystem is there, then R&D will automatically happen. Number two, there not only talked about talent. The thing is, today we have mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, electronic engineers, but the requirement is somewhat hybrid type of engineers who have knowledge of both electronics and mechanical, mechatronics, and these type of disciplines are very less today, especially in the metallurgy field. There are hardly any number of metallurgical engineers are less, so that is another area that needs to be looked into. And third thing I would say is, which was a very big problem earlier, it has been streamlined to a great extent, is the IPR related issues. The speed at which the patents are granted, the way patents are protected, these things need a relook so that external companies are much more comfortable in setting up their R&D centers here.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Jato. Thank you. I close this session. I am not going to summarize this. The CQ will have its own, will think of a document, will be all your views of this. Just send a mail to all of you also. Correct things and do that. But thank you very much for the input in this. We come to the next session.
We now move to the next session on FDI and R&D in infrastructure, mining and healthcare. May I request all the speakers to join us on the dais. Mr. Atul Arya, Mr. Sharad Goswami, Mr. Abhinav Srivastava and Mr. Bans.